Hello everyone, Charlie here again with another review. This time it's a special present for a close friend of mine, so let's all hope it's good. This is a review of Assassination Classroom, Season 1. It's an odd show, that's for certain. It takes place in Kunugigawaka Junior High and follows the E-Class, or End Class. The title End Class comes from the fact that the students in E-Class are those whose grades were so poor that the main course was too much for them. Instead of failing and dragging down the reputation of the elite, these students are placed in a separate building far away from the normal classes. This End Class is such an interesting idea, and while it's a brutal system, it has been proven to work. Those not in E-Class are deadly afraid of falling into it, and thus improve their studies to avoid becoming a part of the literal laughingstocks of the school. Plenty of privileges are revoked from the E-Class, making it even worse for those there, especially those who wish to get out. The system of the End Class also makes it hard to get out for those already there, as high midterm and final grades are expected, which may sound reasonable, but at this school, such things are kicked up to a maximum. It's not all bad for the E-Class, however. They're about to have the opportunity of a lifetime. One day, an unidentifiable force destroys the moon, leaving it in the permanent shape of a crescent. The same force also cannot be killed by conventional means, but must be stopped with a specific material made for cutting his cells. The problem therein is this being can move at Mach 20, or over 15,000 miles an hour. Not all hope is lost, however, as he makes a deal with the, quote, leaders of the world that he will be allowed to teach a class of third years at Kunigigawaka Junior High, who will be allowed to attempt to assassinate him, so long as he doesn't harm any of them. He or she who has any part in the assassination will earn a portion of the bounty, 10 billion yen. Another problem arises, though, as he will only be teaching until March of next year, which is when he plans to destroy the world. Even though I only watched one season, the show has two, both with over 20 episodes each. This should be obvious, but until that last episode, this creature, who will henceforth be referred to as Koro-sensei like he is in the show, will not die. That's not a problem, however, as the goal of the show is less focused on his actual death and more on the comedic aspect he brings, and the hilarity that comes with middle school-aged children attacking a giant yellow octopus with rubber knives. Just a fair warning, this show is odd. The said middle school-aged children are also a unique aspect of the show, as the entire class of 28 students, by the end of the show at least, all have names and voices. Each character has some level of unique design and personality, making the class feel more alive to the viewer. The problem is that learning all the names of the characters is harder than it is in real-life middle school. I'll quickly go through my opinions on the characters here in this segment called, How are there almost 30 of you? This cast is ridiculous. My suspension of disbelief kinda dies with you around. All I know you for is being the class rep guy. The class pervert was actually kinda funny toward the end. Flexibility has never been more intimidating. At least you tried to kill him, science nerd. The smart and capable one. While I like your character, you're not really good at anything. How can someone be so calm after being kidnapped? Like, what? That one scene with this guy as a decoy really made me laugh pretty hard. I find your interest in bugs gross, yet endearing. The killer trap. I find you really interesting. Should have gotten more screen time. While your episode was interesting, you really bore me. Having the first line you said played as a joke was actually pretty hilarious. How could a sniper have a hairstyle where they're covering their eyes? I liked your character arc, even if it was a bit forced. Not all blonde people speak English, but Japan keeps forgetting that fact. My favorite background character, and I can't figure out why. I like your character design, and you came within 3 centimeters of killing your teacher, so good job. She's not even that overweight, like what's with the fat jokes? Good job, detective! You figured out the criminal as he poisoned your teacher. A funny character who got just enough screen time. So underused. His video editing skill has so much potential. Lame character who does little to nothing. The big sister archetype works pretty well in this show. The dummy of you getting shot scared me half to death, man. I'm not into 2D girls. Sorry. Ugh! I hate everything about you, from your character design to your personality. Along with the students are 3 teachers. Karasuma, a favorite of mine, Irina, and of course, Koro-sensei. Over the course of the show, more and more characters are revealed, to the point where each new episode you're expecting an addition to the cast that could be a minor or even major character. The music in the show is great, but after hearing the same song over and over while binging, they get stale. They tend to use the same song 2 or 3 times an episode, which can get very grating. The theme songs are fantastic, but I don't think the endings are anything special. The animation in the show is intense and fun to watch, and thankfully well animated. I will now delve into some aspects of the show that I disliked, and a few get very spoiler heavy, so here's your warning. As mentioned before, Assassination Classroom does lose points with me, due to the fact that it cannot end until Koro-sensei is dead. For if he was halfway through the show, it would have nothing to do with itself. There's also the fact that with the constant additions of new characters and plotlines, some very interesting characters with amazing potential just don't get to shine. Further, some of the characters they add in are downright boring. Half of the 5 virtuosos lost my interest immediately, and the rest did over the course of the very next episode, making their inclusion feel like fluff. especially since none of them, except Asano, can surpass the specialty students who are literally failing through school. Now that I've said my piece about the show, it's time for a summary of my thoughts. With a good premise that causes itself to get predictable, but strung along by a cast of mostly interesting characters and some great, albeit repetitive music, I'd recommend the show to people who have time to watch a 25-episode anime and also like good action and comedy.